gonna see this work a bit better than on Wednesday, but I have doubts. I have a lot of doubts. Well, Colin, I hope you're good. As always, I hope your week was good. It is apparently Friday. I was made aware of that not too long ago. was not I was not aware that it was Friday already. But yeah, I hope you're good. I hope everything is fine. We have some teeny tiny news, as always, not much. Things are broken, things are working, both sides of the coin, as always. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see. It's supposed to be pretty okay. Uh, so, you know, that's the important stuff. If it works, it works. There is a ton of news regarding Elgato stuff. Stony, hi, welcome in. You dead? I see that. Kroskis, hi, welcome in. Uh, I am about to deploy, yes. Kinda. Not really, but kinda, yes. Um, it's, it, maybe. It's a maybe. That's where we are currently. It's a big ass maybe. I feel like the things, you're right, hi, welcome in. Um, it's fine, but it's not working, but it's fine. Um, so yeah, that was so close. Goddamn, Cookie, hi, welcome back. How have you been? How's everything? How's your day going? All that. Um, it's no, it is working. That's the issue. Yeah, Stony, same thing, same mistake. By the way, basically, it's working. The thing that I'm working on, that I've been working on today, is the greeting at the top. The message that is there, it kind of needs to be swapped when you are testing something. So even though it's not the case, but I'm still gonna fake this thing is to, in order to have something, right? Let's say I have this perfume in my collection, which is the case, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna wear that today because it makes sense based on the recommendation that I had in my homepage. This is the type of thing that would work really well with my collection or with the weather for today, right? So I'm wearing it, and if I'm just saying like I'm wearing that today, cool. I have the ability to stop wearing, which is the main point. But then the homepage um, is supposedly, and that's currently working-ish, giving me a message that is more aligned with what I just did. So right now it is saying revisiting Buveur Devant, come back later for the impressions. Because before that, it was basically just saying, what's all your thoughts? And I just sprayed the thing. So I don't fucking know. I have no idea. I have no like background on what happened and so on. So it was really bad. So I worked on that. The issue that I have is, as you can see, it takes 3 lines of text right now. And 3 lines is basically the limit where on iPhone 13 mini, so I know it's limited, like a 12 mini and 13 mini are really a small demographic, but still, the card is getting inside of the navigation at the bottom. So basically, we are having the two buttons in, like, in the card itself, not necessarily clickable. You can still access the buttons themselves when you are here, right? That's the same thing. But it's just... Eh. So that's the thing. What I did though for the Friday and all of the other things is it has a max width and then it has a resizing section. So it will resize itself to match the screen size. if it becomes too small, or if the screen is smaller, right? That's the base thing. So that's interesting. It's working ish, and now Fry is kind of not exactly big enough, but that's what she said. It happens. Um, and the issue that we have, for me at least, is the fact that right here it also doesn't really take the value that I'm needing it to take. And if the perfume that I'm testing has one of these big ass, long ass names, I end up with potentially 3 lines of text being the perfume itself. So if I go into the assistant, which is where we can have some of the things that Techie was talking about last time, in the one of them has like 4 or 6 or whatever. This one, the name of this perfume doesn't even fit the input because of how it's broken, right? So it's just uh, it's not great. It's not great. But other than that, other than that, it's working, right? It's the app is working, the recommendations are working, the content is displayed properly. We have most of the things how we are expecting them to be. Um, and there is no bugs so far. So, like that's the type of thing that is not a good recommendation. I can't wear the same thing again once I just wore it. That makes no sense. That recommendation is bad. So yeah. Well, you know what? Yes, I agree with that. But uh, no bugs found. Based on the recommendation, not recommendation, but based on the feedback that I have, which is like no feedback at all, everything so far is just good and working. And I have some breaking when it comes to some weird ass desktop aspect ratio situation. But that's about it, which I wouldn't really consider as a bug. Um, but yeah, let me just check. Let me check. Um, these makes no sense. That's fine. But yeah, like we had in the feedbacks and things, basically since build 71, 72, we had beta testers, right? That's the thing. We had crashes, a lot of them in build 77, like a lot of things crashed all the time. And then overall, um, things just removed the crashes and the feedbacks, which is kind of sad because I haven't had any fucking feedback. Like we had 3 feedbacks right here, which is really good, and have been fixed since then. And the crashes and the crash logs are loaded, but also not. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, if all goes well, the next build is going to be build 19. If I can not promote, but like uh, release build 90, that would be pretty good. I've done some of the things. I'm missing like the screenshots that is missing. I've done the whole description shit, which I hate, but it's working, and all of the potential things that are necessary in there, that's what we have, which is pretty good. I just need to work on this. I hate it. I've hated these things for the past I don't know, 16 years maybe. Basically, since I started doing app design, I have tried um, doing like app store screenshots, and it's not for me. I just hate them. Um, I never know what to write. That's the thing. Like I'm losing and not losing. I'm using ex other uh, app store screenshots as references to see what they have done, and I have mine from before and the one that I currently have can and so on, which makes sense. But then I it's just I never know what to write in there. You can't see my screenshots making a huge difference. They do. They make more. Uh, like you would be surprised by how much, um, like things happen when it comes to screenshot and how they are perceived. Like for example, the screenshot that I have right here, which are really bad from my standards. If I change them, there is a very high probability of this getting more clicks and conversion rate that is better. Like for example, if I go into the analytics and specifically in this one, you can see that uh, my impressions are going down, and supposed to have like conversion rate thing that have changed. But yeah, my conversion rate is currently going back up for the past 30 days. So that's good, but like 8% is really shit. And the reason why it's going up is because my impression is going down. So, you know, um, that's bad. The thing is, the acquisition, and that's where things happen, is this the app store search or app store browse is the two things. And so that is the reason, or that's the thing when you are looking at most of the, let's say, lifetime for some reason, um, the overall thing, most of the time, it's going to be App Store browser, like browsing things, and then every spike in blue is when I have made a post on Twitter or on Reddit or somewhere to bomb something, but like most of the time, it's going to be one of these two, um, App Store search or App Store browse that is higher than the rest. So that means that basically when the people are in the App Store, they see the screenshot and they're like, oh, cool, that looks interesting. And that needs to happen. The thing that we are mentioning most of the time and showcasing most of the time is all that we talked about on Wednesday last time. Are these, not these, where I know I like some of them. Um, these ones, that company, that account, I don't know. They have what I would call pattern, where the initial two screens are not necessarily the app that you can see, right? You have something that attracts your eyes, and then the app information. If I go on to this one, you have something that attracts your eyes in the first two, and then the app information, even though that's kind of the app. But we talked about it, like the first two are usually something that is different. So that grabs your attention and then show you the rest of the things, which makes sense for some reason. Um, but if I go in there and let's say I'm looking at not let's not do games because it makes no sense. Let's go on must have, or let's go on. I guess I need a search, right? I guess I need a search in order to get the things. So let's do uh, obviously learn Japanese. So these things, right? The ability for me to be um, more interested in these three images compared to these three is higher. Like these, the probability of me clicking on this is very low compared to this, which has like first image being really different, and then the app. There is something about it. Uh, so, you know, so the screenshots are necessary for me to play with and make sure that I have everything that I need in order to get by. But for now, it's not there, and I hate it. I hate screenshots. Always have, always will. Maybe not, but for the longest time. uh, Nux. Yeah, Mizzy, hi. We're going in. How are you? The fact that this is like birth control delivered feels weird because Nux sounds like nutrition, like nourishing, nourishment, no something, and then X as in nourishment, nutrition X. But then it's to nurture or nurture you. So I don't know. Interesting. I don't think I agree with that though. Um, I don't think I agree with the fact that this is workaround for the App Store not displaying like bigger screens or bigger app things and a workaround from the people. I feel like it's more what has been attracting and eye-catching or more eye-catching to people, and then um, giving you something. But yeah, Cybersect, hi, welcome in. How are you? Um, Important stuff. I feel like the meds are taking effect, which is kind of sad. It's been an hour, but it makes sense. I'm on a energy crash right now, so we're gonna. I'm gonna take it slower, a tad. um, yeah, yeah. No, that's that. I get that. The fact that it's used by the users or by the marketing team to say, well, this is now the marketing team department, and therefore it is billboards and advertisement, and you need to, you know, optimize that. Yes, but yeah, um, I so there from what I know, there is a requirement of you need to have kind of work on it. You need to have something that at least looks like the app in in the first images that people will see. So if you don't have a screenshot of the app in the first three, which is the three that people are seeing, you may be disqualified for or rejected by the App Store review team because it's not visible. So that's something to, keep into consideration. Um, but yeah, it's really interesting to see, at least. Um, the other thing that I don't really like is the fact that we still end up uh, with a split screen, and so that's not necessarily good. That is not necessarily a good thing, you know. Um, but yeah, congrats on the stream as well. By the way, yeah, no, that's true. It's true. We have some teeny tiny news. Um, that's a new one. This is what I'm currently on at this instant. It's um, it's called Blizzard Lemonade, which basically would be the color of yellow snow. And then this is also new, and it's shit. I hate it. The reason why I hate it is because it is mango flavored. Like it's tropical fruit punch thing, but it's more mango than anything, and mango is um, really bad in chemical related. And then the one that I kind of like is their limited edition Lord of the Ring uh, thing, mostly because it has gold on the fucking box, you know. Um, so it's cute, it's shiny, and they've done a pretty good job on this one for all of the small details. The map in the background, I don't think you can see that, or you would be able to see that, even if I zoom in. I doubt, you would see the rabbit. I mean, you kind of can. The rabbit in the map, in the background, and so on. So these are pretty cute. They are pretty nice. They've done a really good job on the branding on this one. So that's uh, that's a neat one. But yeah, um, the mango is not gonna be good. I don't think I'm gonna drink that whole thing for sure. But yeah, that's the arrival from yesterday, and then the arrival from today is this. But that's like creatine, and it's just the most sandy creatine ever. I hate it. Just makes you eat flour. It's really just don't like it. Um, it seems everyone is landing on the same spot. So yeah, I now that it's resetted, you can try to drop again. But yeah, so that was the news for today, kinda. God damn. And then the second news is I finally watched Andor. Yeah, uh, I know. It's been a while, but I finally watched this thing, and I'm sad about it because it's good, and there is not more of it, and there can't be more of it. And most of the thing that they have done in there is really good. There have been some issues with um, the transition in between the TV show and the movies. So there's that. But overall, it's really good. Um, however, if you haven't seen that, sorry, spoilers. I don't know, not spoilers. Um, on the season two, the planet that things happen in, like where she is and he is, they are all speaking French. The Yeah, the planet thing is just they all still speak a weird ass language that is a mix of French and German, and 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 it sounds so French to me. Like my French detector was like so bad. But yeah, other than that, pretty nice, pretty nice TV show, pretty nice thing. What I love about it, and the reason why I liked it so much, didn't, but like, is not because of the story or the content or whatever. It's the costumes. The entirety of the costume direction, all of the drapes is really good. Some of them makes no sense. Like specifically, this one makes no sense for what it is compared to the others in the realm of Star Wars, if you are into that. But most of the others, regular costumes for the high society are really amazing. Um, all of these ones are really, really good. And I like all of the fabrics, specifically like the details in the fabrics. And obviously, this one specifically is like the fashion designer's thing. So there is a statement in materials, which was really interesting. But yeah, all of that, pretty cool. The sad thing is, the tech needed to be at the the break, not the break point, but like the in between points in between the previous movies, like one, two, three, and or Rogue One, 4, 5, 6, and so all the tech is like old tech, so it's not as good. I wish it was better, but it's not. And then I tried to watch, not you, get out, to rewatch episode 4, which is the first one that came out in 77, which is crazy to think that it came out in 77. But I couldn't. It's just, there needs to be an epilepsy warning or something. There's flashes all around, and they are not like light flashes, as in it's fine. So it's a small flash here and there. No, no, no. They are like bright ass flashes that just take you out. So I just couldn't. Um, that's something. But yeah, again, the drips is really good. All of it, all of it, all of it is really good. Um, and I would say, even though it's a fucking droid, the emotional range that they have achieved with such a small square box is impressive. Again, if you haven't seen it, I don't, you know, um, I get it. But if you have seen it, you probably understand what I'm talking about. This droid only has the ability to move up or down and then tilt the cap in different direction. Like this one is opening up. There is so much emotional screenplay for such a small thing, and it's it's really well made. It is really, really well made. So yeah, I mean, again, uh, this bitch is amazing as well. I forgot who did that. I think it is. Yes, it is. I was about to say, I think it's Ellen. Yes, it is. And that's the reason. um, I haven't watched Severance, and I usually have a very hard time with TV shows. No. Eh, I have personal taste, you know. Um, so that happens. But yeah, there are like a ton of TV shows that are pretty interesting. Um, the last one in the same realm, and the reason why I know that Severance would be pretty appreciated by me, is the fact that I'm interested in basically any Apple or Apple TV Plus series that comes out has some sort of a very, 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 did I say very, very good visual thing. So like Foundation um, is visually an amazing TV show. Everything, again, I am a sucker for anything that is space related. So if it takes place in space, god damn, that was complicated. I'm probably gonna like it. You know, probably gonna like it. So, Foundation, Star Wars, good with me. But Foundation is an amazing thing for everything that is like the visuals, the representation of the buildings, the drips. Again, the like, yeah, everything that is costume designer is really good. Same thing with Dune. Same stuff. Really like it because it's in space, but also like really good overall world building and so on. Um, but yeah. Um, hmm I see. Uh, I know that I've seen like I've seen very small nothing of what it is. Like I do not really know. I kind of do the premise of what it is, and it's been so hyped that I know I will be disappointed. So that's why I'm not gonna watch it now. It's gonna need to wait for at least like a year and a half, 2 years before I can potentially attempt to watch anything from there. But yeah, um, I I kind of know what it's about ish, and I probably don't, which is pretty good. Like I've seen so little that it's just people are telling me that it's good, and therefore it's bad. Um, so that's the thing. I said that before. That is the reason why I didn't like Game of Thrones, nor did I like Breaking Bad in the slightest. So, like that's a very deal breaker, which is really sad because they are good TV shows, but they didn't live up to the hopes that I had based on what people had said. Like they were like, "Oh yeah, Breaking Bad is the best TV shows ever made," and so on. And I watched it and I was like, "Yeah, that's shit. We've seen that before." Okay. The same thing for Game of Thrones. So like that's the thing. Um, I see. Mm. It seems, based on what I understand, um, and um, mm, I guess, I mean, I don't think it's the catalog that I'm looking for. I think I'm uh, like the list of all of the IPs that they have would be interesting for me to know, like what they have done. From what I've kind of heard so far, most of the things that they have made is good. Um, most. Like this one seems to have been recommended a lot as something that is humoristic and really good, but also like human and so on, which is appreciated. Severance is also something that we talk about. Um, this one seemed to have been recommended as well, as far as I remember. There is another one which I forgot. Saito is debatable. This one was interesting as well. You know, this one, same thing for me because it takes place in space again with robots and shit. That makes sense for me. That's something that will work. So we'll see at some point. Also, yes, I am in the Japanese version of Apple TV. That makes sense. Don't worry about it. Um, so yeah, that's the thing. I think the latest TV shows that I really willingly watched That sounds weird. Um, that's good. That's good to read. Um, hmm. Do I have? I feel like this app is dying. I'm really sad about it. Um, no, I haven't. I just heard that it's good. That's the thing. But that's the bitch. Uh, ah, what do you mean? Yeah, that's not. Bitch, log me in. What the fuck are you doing? My bad. Ah, I'm gonna kill some people. That makes no sense. God damn, that took too long. Way too long. And also, this thing is not optimized for website, so that happens. The last one that I watched as a TV show, and not like an anime, because that's the only thing that I watch, have been The Sandman season 2, Ironaut, which is really shit. Sorry, and Daredevil season 3, like Born Again, was interestingly not as good as I expected it to be. Um, so yeah, did you took a shit? Did you say I love you to your dad? What happened? Mm. You refer the dev and the tester to your current employee. As in they have a side project and then they need like a dev and they need testers. Hmm. That's interesting. Pretty good choice. Pretty good things to do. Pretty good things to do. Um, why can't I zoom in? So this one, pretty good. Gachi, pretty good. If you haven't watched it, if you're into anime, watch it. Maybe, I don't know. You do whatever the fuck you want. The Sandman, I like it a lot. This was shit. This was okay. This is aura farming. It's fun. It's something that you can put in the background and just, you know, enjoy. Same thing as Mashal. Mashal is the same shit to me. It's the One Punch Man situation, and he's just so powerful. Got they? Yeah. Latest season was really, really good. I am more than biased. Um, I yes, my first ever anime was Bleach, so I have emotional link to what it brought to me, and yeah, that latest season after 11 years of waiting, basically, uh, really good animation, really good story, debatable, but like pace for once. We do like it. Um, Other than that, Echo was shit. Shogun was great. Windbreaker is sad. Kaiju number 8 is good for many reasons, but it's the same fucking concept, which is sad. Pluto was nice. If you haven't watched it, maybe that's an interesting thing for you. Um, I I gave up, to be honest, Stony. I I liked it, kinda. Um, but then it's I it's not something where I was like, I need to go and continue. Like I'm only on episode, I think 6 or not even. Yeah, exactly. I'm on episode 6. I've seen the first 6 episodes. Um, and it's just eh. Like nothing really um yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't with Dan the Dan. I watched the first 3 episodes, I think. Yeah, 3 episodes. And after that I was like, well, this is shit. Like I that's it. That's what it is. It's shit. Um so yeah, I don't did like it. Um Weirdly enough, this one was good. This one was really good. This one, I don't know. This one, pretty good for what it is. Pretty good. If you are someone that does, I think I said that last time, and every time that we have like a section of the stream that takes over by TV shows and others, we talked about it. But if you are someone that is into arts and craft, and or you have been into art school and other architecture school and so on, and you just want to cry, Blue Period is an amazing anime. The manga as well, but like, um, I don't think I haven't finished it, to be honest. But on the entirety of the episodes that I've watched, I don't think there is a single one where I didn't cry based on past experience and reference to the thing that I've done when I was in school. So yeah, um, that's it's really good. Blue Period is really good. Really liked it. Really liked it. But yeah, no, Pluto is really nice if you are into mystery solving and other research stuff. That's one of the reasons why I kind of liked Andor, because it is some sort of a like police chasing situation and so on. Um, but yeah, that's confettis. Uh, I think I need to say that as well because it's necessary to mention. Uh, Shogun, I watched it as I was in Japan and I watched it without subtitles to be in the situation where I kind of see it as the main character um, point of view. Obviously, he learns Japanese better than I did, but so there is biased on this one. but it's pretty nice. I do like it. I need to watch it again uh, with subtitles to figure it out. And if you are into Samuel, hi, welcome on in. Welcome back. How are you? How have you been? If you are, Hiron, into space and stuff, The Expanse is really good. I didn't watch it 3 times. I didn't. I might. I don't know. I don't know. Same thing, you know, like Krosky, same thing with Fire Force. I kind of could watch the thing because it's good, but there is so much titties and things that take me out of the environment, and I'm like, why? I don't get it. It could have been really good, but no. But no. Well, it's you know the story. I think I told the story before. I love this story, by the way. That's the reason why I'm saying it every time. Um, The Expanse was season 1 and 2, and then got cancelled. And then Jeff Bezos was liking it so much that he personally bought back the entire crew and the sets and the actors and the payroll of everyone. And now we have season 4, 5, and 6. Just because he wanted to see the rest. And still Jeff Bezos, and so, you know, not that good, but that's a fun thing. That's a fun thing to happen. So it got cancelled and then reapproved and then recancelled at the end, which is kind of sad. And I agree with you that they close it off really, really fast. So, eh. But yeah, and going back to Samuel, what you said about Arcane, Arcane is good. I do think that there is some issues in there. Yeah, if you want to play ads for everyone else, that's an option. I don't know if it works though. But yeah, I couldn't. For
F. Boucheros raided my stream with 10 viewers.
well, come on in. That's something that I forgot to do. That is something that I forgot to do. I don't know if they. I mean, that doesn't work, but that works. But welcome on in. How are you? How was the stream? How is everything? All of that, as always, welcome on in. For those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm AOA. I'm the helping designer. So if you have any design question, as always, feel free to ask. But yeah, welcome on in. As always, usual thing. If you need to raid and run, please do that. If you want to raid and stay, please do that as well. And yeah, you started building an MCP server for what things? Because that's an interesting thing. What are you? What are you context providing to the model? Me trying to find the words. The app guy, hi, welcome in. Yes. You got brought in from a new streams. It's an MCP server that would check in documentation of website you would provide in the config. So if you have a website that have like a dot model or a dot fuck name brain. I think it's the dot model or the dot AI dot context file, like kind of MD file situation that is read by whatever models you have, and then you get into this through your MCP server. So that basically, if the MCP server ping that website, it gives you the correct, or it gives the model the correct data, or are you just looking for things like that, like the docs related to, I mean, Tailwind, like that, like just that. Yeah, no, MCP in the beginning when it came out kind of blew my mind as well, Samuel. And I also had to go through this thinking of what the fuck is it, and and so on. But um, model con model 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 context provider (MCP) is a way for you to get more context to your AI assistant and other AI assisted platforms. So for me, for example, it's Cursor. If I have the need for something, also it's not running right now. But if I need to get like a Figma designed to something in code, I need to go. I mean, I need to go. I would benefit from having like the Figma MCP, so the model context provider, to just give Cursor exactly what I need in like the Figma screen looks like this, and I can just send a PNG, but I can also send the MCP, which will also give like more detailed and granular things that are coded already, so that Cursor, for example, would have an easier time understanding what I'm trying to build. So, yeah. Um, well, send that in here. uh, that's a it's an interesting thing. It's buffering. Um, mm, I see. So I'm gonna say something, and you probably thought about it. It makes sense. But if it's Python specifically, the model already has been trained on that. Um, the only thing that I would say is that potentially and probably most of the things that are like documentation related for like languages and other stuff that already exist probably have been used to train existing models. So you may be interested, or you may benefit from finding something that is, how can I say that? Like more tailored. Uh, I know that, like, for example, ChatGPT Codex stuff is a potential and ID entry things, but you know, that is interesting. That's kind of bad. I see. Hmm. Hmm. The previews are good. I appreciate that. The settings are good. The thing that we've made, real nice. These are like, I hate it, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. Um, I feel like these might be. Sorry for the pose. Might be in the necessity of adding some of these stuff right there. Like the speed could be right next to the settings. Even though I get it, you have like expand settings, numbers, and the numbers button, like small stuff, small stuff. Um, and I feel like your name. I feel like I've seen your name before, and I don't know how to pronounce it. Bucheros sounds weird. So yeah, to me, but maybe that's how it's pronounced. Um, I feel like you might get away with something like augment to get like a bit of an inspiration and reference for how they use massive context windows, which is probably going to be the same thing as your massive context window that needs to be used for um, yeah, the thing with Frank, which is fine, is that if I say Frank, most people will probably not know who I'm talking to. So that's why FB is probably the best option. But now that I said that, you are going to be Frank. And FB Frank. You're going to be Frank, FB, Viteros. Mm, yeah, that happens. um, because of your MCP being based on the documentation being that massive based on the entirety of what you are trying to build, I fear that you would end up in a situation where no, uh, where the MCP is going to overload the context window of whatever. Um, yeah, Boucher is French, but also Bucheros might be, uh, yeah, Portuguese, but then Frank with a K. um, Man Brave, hi, welcome in. Um, welcome back. You are French, goddamn. Fuck. And the banner is Frank Boucher. Very French indeed. Yes, I see, I see, I see. Mhm. Ah, welcome in. Um, yeah. I mean, I do. I understand what you're trying to build, and I'm not discrediting the fact that you're building it. I'm just thinking. I know. Good thing that you're Canadian and not French because goddamn French. What a concept. Uh, you and you're doing the thing that I should be doing, right? Um, I'm not reading the docs. I am, but I'm not using the AI to read the docs. I'm using my ass to read the docs, which is not good. And I'm trusting the AI to build the things based on the docs that they read on their own and that I thought or hope I can trust. So you're doing the right thing. Congrats on that. That's the first thing. I think that the model provider. Let me just load this thing because goddamn, I'm dying right now. In the settings, that's gonna turn me into a slideshow again. In I think it's in the roles in memory, right? You have the project roles, but you also have the docs. And I have a feeling that I don't know if you're using cursor to build stuff, because why? But that might be very much the same thing, where here you can add docs based on URLs, and so ending up with something that, you know, um, give you roughly the same thing that you're trying to build. I'm just thinking that this one is taking on the context window that we have here, whereas yours would be an external thing, um, which is pretty good. But I I personally have a hard time with MCPs in general. I don't think they're useful, really. um, I or let me rephrase that. I haven't found a use for them in a way that just makes so much sense that I'm like, oh yeah, for sure, that's the thing that I missed. So like that. For now, what I have is just like I'm going through the context by adding the context in there, and when I really need to provide context to cursor specifically, I just use the add web to just browse the web, do something about it, and that's working, kinda. But yeah, um, yeah, that's a good thing. Having fun is good as well, to be honest. Um, and Samuel, I do understand that if you have the knowledge, having an AI assistant or AI builder um, might be not a good idea. If you're like me and you don't know shit, that's really good. It's a really good tool, really cool implementation and stuff. And it's when it works, because obviously it doesn't right there. Um, it ends up being really nice. But yeah, the fact that you're learning, Frank, that's good. The fact that you're just testing the tech and playing with it, that is what is the most important, right? Um, yeah, and I disagree with that, Mindbrave. I I we had that discussion many times, specifically with Stony in the beginning. Um, and I'm using Stony as an example here because it's one of the best example that we have so far, where in the very much beginning of when AI started to be integrated into IDs and people started to use it, and me included, I started to use the things, and I built this. If it works today, it doesn't. God damn. Um, like, and I built this app. The the thing that happened is I achieved the app in its entirety in like a month and a half, maybe less. And I have no fucking understanding of what happened. I just know that it works. And when Stoney tried to do the same thing, he struggled for the longest time to achieve something that was to his standards. And the issue with this is because the people that have the knowledge are directing the AI, whereas I was coaching the AI. And so that's basically what made me succeed, kind of, with it, rather than be frustrated. And that might be the same thing with Samuel right now. Um, but it's just if yeah, you did make a lot of progress. The thing that I found good, at least for me, was we are trying to achieve this. I have this as a reference in my head. It should probably look like this image. What do you think? How do you think we could implement that? Figure it out. Whereas from what I've seen, a regular a dev with competence and skills, which is not me, is probably going to say we need this exact type of function that does exactly this, using that exact thing that already exists and implement it this way. And when you give AI assistant and other ID AI stuff too many guardrails, it just fails. Something is not breaking or not computing and it breaks. Whereas when you are just giving it the do whatever, I don't care, just make it work, it seems to be working. So that's the first thing. That's the first instance of uh, someone that doesn't have any fucking understanding, which is myself, might have a better output than someone that does. But later down, I'm back. Uh, so why right here? I stopped at the right place. Basically, what happens is someone with the skills will be able to say on this page right there, we have some issues regarding this specific thing, and um, like you know exactly how you yourself are supposed to do things because you have the knowledge that I don't have. So that's the thing that I've seen lately where someone with the skills is better suited to use AI assisted because it is at the end when something already exists. And so that Frank Richeros, I'm guessing it's boucher very much, boucher as in French boucher, but um, you know that is is interesting because you end up with the context MCP thing being, can you context yourself on the documentation that I've wrote for the whole website, the whole thing that I'm building, and then based on that, understand stuff. So yeah, um, C sharp is interesting. It depends on what you're building. So right now with the MCP, I forgot exactly what it can be built on, but in C sharp is a great language, great foundation language that I don't know enough. That's the truth. I don't know enough. So yeah, that's the to me that's the thing. So Manbrave, if you have the skills, right, um, and you end up using the AI to help you fix things in a code base that is contained and already existing, and you have the skills, you should be good. If you don't have the skills and you are building the code base yourself, you may just gain something that end up being much better because it was more of a free build than anything else, and the AI took like liberties to build things. So that's yes, but yes, the amount of waste created is crazy, even for me. And the amount of security issues, the amount of time where I'm seeing that my API keys are just in, like, bitch, get up, in uh hard coded on GitHub, you know. As we said, if you do a Google search with SC underscore on github.com, you will find OpenAI secret keys, you know, like in no time for free. So it happens. But yeah, I do think personally, if you don't have if you don't have skills, myself, and you're not a dev, Still, using an AI to build something is a pretty good thing. If you have the skills, you need to build the things first and then use the AI to help you polish stuff rather than the other way around. So it's two different use cases for two different user base, which makes sense. But to me, right now, it seems to be where things are, at least from my point of view. Um, yeah, maybe. Um, it's also potentially, right? The models that were used in the beginning when we were having the issues on Stony's end with the AI assistant have been improved on so much since then that the latest activities and latest things that happened um, is now easier, you know. So, yeah. Also, Nox, welcome on in. I said that in my head twice, and then I didn't say it out loud. Welcome on. How are you? How's the day going? How's everything? I also see that the greetings doesn't work, and I hate that. Oh my God, that's gonna piss me off. Gonna make that work. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. At the time, I think Stony was using mostly Copilot, I think. And I did it. I was using Claude again from the initial thing and the way that I built the app the first time, right? I went through Claude, as in Claude directly, and did or created the files through Claude and then copy pasted from here to Xcode, and then saw if it worked or didn't work and so on. But that's all I did. So way different than using Cursor. And then after that, I tried or discovered Cursor and therefore had some fun with it, um, and so on. So yeah. Um, right this instant, what I have is if I need something quickly, I'm gonna be in Auto. If I need something good, I'm gonna be in 4.5 Claude because it's better for code, or in GPT-5 if I don't care about the length of the output. GPT-5 just takes so much detours. Like it's just wild. Also, Cheetah is an interesting thing that I haven't uh, touched yet, and it's kind of free for now. So you know, might be interesting. And then Code Spinova is something that I haven't tried yet, but because it has like a very massive context window. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna check it out later. And then Codex is the one that we are trying to make work better. But yeah, 4.5 Sonnet is currently the best option for me to get the thinking. I also have a Betty, good job. A very personal thing with the model that I'm using. I feel like if I'm building a feature in the app with Claude, when I'm trying to make it work with GPT-5 at some point, it there is some inconsistencies in the way that they both work, and therefore one of them is going to build something a certain way, and the other is building the thing a similar way but kind of different. And so when you're using multiple models, you end up with things that are compatible and incompatibles, and the way that they would prose stuff, like the way that the variable would be named in Claude are different than the way that the variable would be named in GPT, and therefore you end up with things that are like one of them assume that the variable would be named a certain way, and then it tries to install or implement something else, and therefore there is some issue. So that's most of the time the reason why I'm going to 4.5 makes more sense. But yeah, um, yeah. What do you mean turn red? Also, maybe yes. One of the things that I can also say is that I am paying for Cursor, so I have access to things that are better than if you're not paying and you're just using the default stuff. Um, but that's something to take into consideration as well. Like the amount you're paying for stuff, like if you're paying for Clone Ultra, I forgot, you end up with different results. So yeah. Mm. I think based on what I've heard, and I'm not someone, again, that's a very interesting use case, and we kind of talked about it before, but I don't have the skills. So the tab completion, I may have done 15 in total since I'm using Cursor. Whereas Agent, I have built 600,000 lines of code in like 30 days. Because I don't know shit, so I can't do anything. Whereas you have the skill, and so you know how things are supposed to be written and so on, and so the autocomplete and the tabs make more sense. So that um, might make sense as well. Might makes it might make it easier to work with just because it's just yeah, it makes sense. The thing that I'm seeing right now is inside of what you mean there inside of Xcode, the new autocomplete thing. It's the shittiest thing that I've seen in years. It's so sad. It's so sad. I'll mean, I work on it. Um, I don't think we needed it. I do think it's a progression in the direction that I have in my head, but it's not. The implementation that we have currently is really shitty, and the output and the goals of the corporations that are holding the AI is not aligned with what they are supposed to be. So um, that's what I would say. I'm not 50-50, and I'm not like 99% on it either. I'm just like it's for some things it's good, for other things it's not good, and most of the things that are popular are the not good thing. So that's the reason why I don't like it much. um, yeah, the thing that I hate about it though for now is the fact that you never know what's going to come out. So if you do something, revert, do something again, you will never have the same output. So yeah, um, that's the thing that I don't like. But yeah, no, this thing is making no sense to me. So when I'm building shit in there to do my test and so on, the the potentials, the things that is added as autocomplete and whatever is sometimes so bad that it doesn't make any fucking sense, and it doesn't work, and it's not something that should happen. So going back to I know what you asked. In my views, since I've been like touching computers in a kinky way or not in a kinky way, it depends, whichever way. I've always been of the principle that shit like this, where you have errors, like place mark was deprecated in iOS 26. Use location address and address representation instead, right? That's the thing that Xcode is giving me. Why isn't it fixed automatically? Like, that's my take. It always has been my take. The computer that I'm currently using knows for a fact that this thing has been deprecated, knows for a fact what it needs to use instead, and knows for a fact how to do it. But it cannot. And that makes no sense to me. It does. Kinda. um, yeah, Frank, I think that's the good idea. I think if the assistant is going to do the research for you and then come back with the proper answer, that's the good way. But it usually, even with the web search, I'm getting some issues. So yeah. Um so the issue that I have with this is right there, right? Right now we have generator fix for the issue. And so then if it's using this, it doesn't fix the issue. And that's what pisses me off. Because once I'm having or adding this, which is really cute, by the way, inside of Xcode, it's just not working. It makes no fucking sense. Like, it's just not. It's just weird to me. Um, well, in my eyes, again, cross keys, and I do agree with you, but like again, it's in my designer view and things that I don't have um the understanding. This should be automatically fixed based on the fact that was deprecated means something. It means that this placemark thing will not be available past iOS 26. And so if I want to still have the ability to get place as an information, I need to use the new versions that is location, address, and address representations instead. And the issue that I have is that based on this phrasing, specifically this phrasing, this is not like an LLM thing. That's it's like the IDE knows. The code itself knows. It's the same thing in my head. Again, I don't know shit. that TypeScript is giving you when you are saying this is a type string and you are giving it an int and it's telling you to fuck off because that's not the type that was supposed to go in. So it knows. That is the type of shit that should be automated in terms of fixing when available. Like specifically this. This one is a very specific example that to me should work, where the system, not an LLM or anything else, just the IDE knows placemark has been deprecated in 26, meaning that as long as I'm targeting something that is earlier, it's still used. But for anything above 26, there is the leeway that Apple is giving me, but then at some point it's not going to work anymore. So I need to use the new version. That makes sense, right? It should be able to fix this because it knows what's supposed to be the fix. And when I'm using the AI is failing every time because the documentation that they need is not um, available anytime because it's too early and too soon. And so I will be able to fix this at the end of the year, something else. But yeah, um, but that's the thing in my head that where the AI and other automation, because at the end of the day, the AI is just a series of if else kind of thing uh, with weights and probabilities and so on. There are things that make sense to use AI for, and there are things that make no sense. And to answer your question again, most of the thing that we have right now that are using AI or implementing AI in their systems isn't necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's just like it's useless. Um, or it's a time gainer, but that's about it. Like it's either I don't want to read this thing, so give me the recap, or I don't want to do the calculation, so give me the output. And when you're using an LLM for calculation, you may end up with things that are false. Whereas when you are using Excel for calculation and you do the formula yourself, you end up with something that is probably going to be true 99.9% of the time because you do the formula yourself and therefore you can trust it. The LLM being an agglomerate machine that just does this thing, probability of having this thing following is higher than this one, so we're going to use that, and then um right, it's probabilistic. Yeah, I fucking forgot the words. uh and therefore it's never going to do something good. So yeah, um yeah, there, so some people are doing this. um some people are doing training on very specific domains, and there are like, again, Codex is trained on code mostly, or like the parameter subcluster is code. So they have to learn for now, right? They have to learn the main cluster of language so that they can parse the language and spit out the language. And then they have the sub level thing of I'm learning or I'm teaching you JavaScript, and that's all the documentation that we have about JavaScript and how things work. Figure it out, learn this, and so on. So some people are doing this with specific stacks, but it's just not too expensive, but it's apparently, based on what I understand, still doesn't understand shit. Based on what I understand, um, most of the models are thriving on the most
Fu
massive
Lesnabel is now following.
like context possible, training model, training data available, like the fattest possible. And then that didn't work. I see that. Uh, and then once, like, I appreciate it. Work on it. Also, usual. How are you? Who are you? How did you find the stream? Thanks a lot for the follow. I appreciate it. Um, so you train it on everything, and then you cluster down on the data that it has, so that it can still pinpoint to other external clusters, but it is tailored to one. So, yeah. Um, yeah, so I would agree with you. You know, because why not? The thing that I don't understand and have never understood has always been, specifically for the thing that we had earlier, right? Um, Dang, it knows. Like there is no question about this. It knows exactly what the issue is. There is an extraneous curly bracket at the top level. So it is aware, right? I'm not talking about the AI. That's I know that you have misunderstood what I said. I'm not saying that the AI should know that. I'm saying that the IDE should be able to say, "Oh, there is something that is not supposed to be here. Let me just remove it," because the linter is aware. And so going back to what I was here, this is some sort of a mix of the IDE slash linter that is telling me, oh, this specific version of the code has been deprecated because from Swift 5 to Swift 6 or 6.1, we now have deprecated the place mark thing, and we are using location address and address mark whatever instead. So that, not AI related at all, just computer related, that should be fixable automatically based on what is giving here. Same thing as the extraneous curly bracket, curly brace. It knows. It is aware that this is supposed to be not necessarily here, or maybe this one is supposed to be somewhere else, and so on, you know. So that is usually my point. And then the AI could be beneficial for these types of things by just going and doing some research instead. But for now, it's not there. So, you know, that's the thing. Also, Chris, welcome on in. I'm going to have to turn this one. I have like creatine in there, and so it's kind of at the bottom. Yeah, just propose. Like that's the thing that we had. Um, fuck, what the like I have a lot of options of things where a variable is not used and therefore it is replaced by an underscore because it makes more sense, or a variable that was a var or never mutated and therefore I'm ending up with a let instead, or the opposite, you know, like shit like this. That used to be the name of the variable or something else, I forgot. And here, in some cases, not all cases, but in some cases, um, I have the options to fix the bugs, error, whatever, instead. So here, there are things that could be presented as options to fix. And in some situations there are, in these ones there are not anything to help me fix it, but in some situation there is. It's just that when, and again, it's my lack of understanding of how things work that make me think like this, but also have always made me think like this. And since I've touched a computer, it is the type of thing that I've thought about. If this thing knows that an asynchronous operation is occurring, like there is no thing that can happen in between the await, what are my options? Is my option to remove the await? Is my option to have an async somewhere else in the function? Is like there are potentials to fix this, but for some reason I don't. It's not presented there, and so the AI assistant can potentially just take a look, but it doesn't necessarily just understand what needs to happen and how things should happen and so on. So, right now it was just like remove the fucking weight, and then you're good. But we had that discussion as well with Tony, I think last year, or 2 years ago, where I do understand that yes, there are like multiple versions and multiple things that you can do to achieve the same result in code. You don't have 36 options, but you still have multiple options. And so if there are stuff in there that are like telling you, oh, this thing is supposed to be displayed a certain way or a different way or something, right? Based on the fact that the ID itself and the language itself has like knowledge about what is happening, specifically here on this is an error in Swift 6 language. It just means I can just not care about it. But yeah, for specifically for this one, right? For the place mark being deprecated in iOS 26, I agree with you. It can take years before it's like really deprecated. There are a lot of things that I basically can still implement and still use because the app is still using a prior target. Like right now, it is targeting iOS 26. So basically, anything that is prior to 26 makes no sense to have. And therefore, this warning makes sense. If I was still targeting iOS 18 and 17 and 16 and so on, I'm guessing these warnings would be potentially not there or potentially there with like an add if instead. Just because, it's not deprecated in 18 and therefore it's still going to be used there because it makes sense. So any devices that cannot update past 18 are going to use the place mark, which is, makes sense. But yeah, so nonetheless, I don't, to be honest, I don't know shit. And yeah. I don't think. Yeah, I really don't. I really don't know. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing it's there, but also that makes no sense either. I have never looked at the fucking settings in here. It's the first time. It's the first time. Um, but yeah, there's nothing really interesting in there. So, you know, it happens. It happens. Let me check that. Uh, Create a website directory for my framework components that I am building. I need some feedback on the look and feel of the site, maybe some IDs. Should also add to the site. Currently, I just have a homepage plus component detail page. It's not finished yet, but prototype. What do I think? Um, I think you know more than me. that's that's the most important part. Um, you know more than me when it comes to code, and you know that's something. I have a feeling right there, and I fear I'm gonna be right. Yep. Do you see the glitch? If you see the glitch, we good. Um, that's breaking my. That's is it visible though? I think it is. Yeah, it is. Um, that's interesting. That's a good point. That is a good point. So, design wise, it's fine. It's not the best option, but it's pretty fine. You are using something a bit too much, I would say. That button effect with the rotation around the button is potentially too much of a. It's used on every fucking button, and maybe you could have like just this one being uh, that interested and this one not. But that's a different thing. When you're looking at these things, I feel like you would need to get the component itself in the view with like how it's supposed to work inside of right here. That's the that would be the first thing that I would highly recommend you to do. Um, when you're going into this, I don't know if this is the way. Mainly because I don't know if you could um, do that. I think you need to go through the Framer marketplace and not necessarily something that is outside. But I don't know shit when it comes to this. I just know that you can make a ton of money on Framer right now. So that's the first thing. The page, obviously. uh, Framer University Resources is going to be your reference, or at least for me, it's going to be my reference of the things that we have. And so if you look at the browse all, you have something that is right similar. So here, for example, we have something that changes, it's animated, it changes, it does the things, and so on. When you click on the view, you end up on the preview and you have the component itself, and then you can copy the component or buy it for you. That would be the thing. On all of these, we have the previews and we have the effect and whatever we are looking for in a very, very, very easy way to see exactly how the things are gonna behave. On your end here, I don't get much. I get this, but that's about it. And I get a glitchy header, which is kind of sad, but that might be a me thing. So don't worry about it. If it doesn't happen on your end, forget about it. Um, and yeah, I think you need the components themselves to be visible and interactable on the website here to make sure that it just, does exactly what you're looking for. Um, Other than that, here I'm seeing two components at once, and here I'm basically seeing six at once. Even if you just said you see four at once and nothing else, you still have like twice as much or three times as much visibility in the home view. So I would say reduce your height, reduce your sizes for the cards in order to make them make more sense. And then um, other than that, it should be good. The the concept is good. The ID would work. The main design is okay. And you know, that button's useless. um the other thing that I'm seeing is this fucking radius. That's a no. You know that. Concentric radius would be appreciated on this one. But, overall it works. It does what you're looking for. It previews, which is, you know, what you need. But maybe having a grid that showcase more stuff and having like a preview or having, you know, something else. I feel like this is the best option. What I would potentially say right here is the fact that this is from a university, and so each of these components are currently free, and so you can just copy the component and remix it and use them and so on, which gives me, if I were to create this website, the ability to not care about what is displayed on the site. Whereas for you, you end up on something where you you kind of need to hide the data and the information and lock them behind the edit in place copy from HTML type of thing that Framer allows, because otherwise you just are giving things for free. So that's the thing. The thing that we have in mind as well um, is this. You might be able to just, instead of having like a full website, even though the website is really appreciated, um, but you might be able to just get some of this where you have your own page that will display everything you need natively inside of the marketplace, and you know that will give you everything where it needs to happen. So that might be a thing. Again, I don't know exactly how the paid tier on displayed, at least, but I feel like it's the same. You end up with the component itself, you have the properly displayed thing, and then you can go into the purchase, and then I can just, purchase the thing and so on. So that might be something that you would benefit from and get something faster and better overall, just because it's the marketplace. So that's the first thing. I do think that, again, having the website itself is going to be better, or it's going to be useful in the long run. But right this instant, for the sake of making things easier for everyone, including yourself, having these presented directly inside of the marketplace page, you might end up with something that is just so much better. So, something to think about. Um, to just not not have to pay Framer to get like the website out, because that's also the thing that is annoying. You need to pay for the domain, you need to pay for the hosting, the Framer plan, the multiple pages, the fact that this one is probably going to be a CMS because it needs one page per components. It's going to cost you a lot. But yeah, other than that, which is already a lot, I know. But other than that, everything is pretty well presented. That thing at the bottom, I don't know if that's necessary. And the best thing for you, or at least for me, would be to have the component itself being interactable, interactive right here, the same way we have them here, right? That's the concept. Um, but yeah, other than that, I think you did good. I think you did good. That orange might be a bit too strong for my taste, but that's just my taste. So have a good rest of your day. Take care of yourself. Thanks a lot for stopping by. I appreciate it, and see you in 2 years. I don't know when I end. I do shorter stream lately, so yeah. Yeah, you don't know. I have a heart condition now, so I need to slow down on stuff. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna die, and that's it. That's all that's gonna happen for me. um, yeah, but I'm gonna die before you, for sure, and I'm fine with it. Um, Pixelies, hi, welcome on in. How are you? You keep me nerdy. So yeah, also the website itself is very, I would say CPU or GPU demanding. My fans are blowing out right now. So that's something to potentially think about. I'm guessing you have blurs, effects, multiple things that are running in the same time that are like this, and all the buttons and the thing at the top. All of that is making the site kind of unstable, at least from my computer. So it doesn't like it. Um, so yeah, even though these are working, these are videos, I think. Um, Not I think they are videos. So yeah, and I do agree with you. The independent type thing is a good option. That's the reason why I said if you went with the um native way, you are bound to the Framer Marketplace thing, and so on. The reason why I'm saying that it would be better for you to get like through the Framer Marketplace first and then have the website is because you need to be referenced there, and you need to have your components listed and available on their marketplace first, so then you can have them somewhere else and be good with it. Which is, I mean, I think you're gonna be fine with this because it's kind of easy and it's the best thing to do. But once you've done that, you should end up with a proper, overall proper um, marketplace from Framer Marketplace and then marketplace from your own website, and hold both. And with that, you have like the independence. If they change something on their ends, it changes for the marketplace thing. If you don't, you don't. Um, you could have. I don't know exactly how you could do that, but like you may be able to have something like a uh, use my own website, get a 10% discount, on the prices, or something else that, because Framer is probably taking a cut, which I don't know how much it is, but it's probably 30% or 15%, the usuals. You end up with getting less. So, you know, small stuff. Small stuff. But yeah, that's the main thing. The website on its own is pretty good. The orange is a bit strong. I would say um, using fuck. What's the name? There is a website that I paid for, uh, but I forgot the name, and I'm guessing this is kind of similar to an extent where you have your components, you have your things. You can kind of see what I'm talking about with at least you have four in the view, and you can get access to something. These ones, they are doing like pro tier, so you can get in, see the thing, and then get um, the pro thing for Webflow, for Framework, so on. But I would say it's probably just layouts and not components. But yeah, I paid for one and I forgot the name, so I will never get access to it again. Oh, so sad. Um, but yeah, that's the base thing. The other one is UI 8, which we talked about before. I forgot if it's .NET or something else. Um, right, when you're looking at this, which is basically the same concept, it's a store. It's a storefront. You want the storefront to be appealing for the user. So what does the user want to do when they go on your storefront? They want to browse and see as much as possible in as little time as possible. So here, I just open the website like a regular person, control screen. I already see 8 potential thing that I could be interested in. If I start scrolling, I'm getting 12 per scroll, basically, right? 12 different entries to go really, really fast into looking for some stuff. Obviously, you might not have that many in the first day, week, months of you using or building your storefront, but you probably will if you're interested in building these components. So the faster you go through a storefront that looks like a storefront and not like a presentation thing, the faster you may be converting people into buying stuff. So for example, here, if I'm not really looking for something, I'm going to get into the categories, look for exactly what I'm looking for. So let's say I'm looking for some illustrations. For you, it would be components, but that's the same shit. And then there, maybe I'm looking for something that is related to, I don't know, food. And I have like 12 entries. Then I go back and 12 more entries. Then I'm there and I'm like, okay, so I reached the end. Cool. Good to know. This one was looking interesting. This one was looking interesting. Let me click on this one to see how it is, what it is. Does it work? Is it good? And then if it's good, I'm gonna buy this. But you can also see how this is displayed, where it's mostly visuals and not necessarily the same concept. For you specifically, you have added the explanation on how to implement the thing, which is fine. But um, I don't see like as much text on Framer University things, right? I still see what you have, which is a screenshot of the settings, but I don't see like the whole thing. And maybe it's just like this one is a bit more complex than others, but that's the simplicity of it, and I think that's the reason why this one might be working, just because it's that easy in a way um, to get through. But yeah, no, I would say that's the most important thing. You need this to be as attractive and as easy to browse as it can in order to. Oh, that's a cute. Oh, oh, that's bad. Huh. Interesting behavior. Really bad behavior. Sorry, I'm seeing details. Uh, if you look at the background and the dots, specifically the dots are part of the button itself, and they are zooming in when I'm sliding up, and therefore they are not like aligned with the dots on the page. Not entirely, at least, because it's a scaled image. That's a very bad move. It could have been transparent. They could have done that transparently rather than. Interesting behavior. Anyways. So yeah, it's a very, to me, it's a very simple thing. It needs to be a storefront and not like a presentation, and therefore something like this makes more sense. Having more per view makes more sense. And um, even if you did the 3 per row, you have 6 per scroll, that's fine. Um, instead of 8. And you might want to get your cards to be a bit more attractive. Yeah. So, let me go back to it, because where is it? There. Um, what am I looking at? Right? That's the main point. I'm looking at components that I will probably use and buy for my Framer website. When I'm here, what am I looking at? Other than the fucking glitching thing at the top because my computer is broken. Don't worry about it. Um, Mostly, I'm looking at the orange elements. I'm looking at the buttons for buy now and the outline of orange, but I'm not necessarily looking at the content immediately. I'm looking at these first and then moving on to this. I'm looking at this first and then there. And so that alone might be something that you need to change in order to make the card like more attractive. And then once you're here, that's good. I think that might be good. You might want to get like a bit of a corner radius. You kind of have it, but you don't. So corner radius will be helpful. And that's about it. Like nothing else. That header makes no sense. I'm guessing you have something like a blurred transition or you are attempting to get like a blur transition to the top, but then it's not working. The reason why I'm saying this is because it's basically behaving the same way that my um, Mac is behaving. Like this thing, when we have some blur happening, um, for some reason it glitches at times. Depends on the day, depends on many things, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna work now or break. So yeah. Um, Also this one, I saved that for later, earlier today. And it's a very cool book case. You could have something very similar for your components. You could have like a bookcase with all of your components in jackets and so on. And if I'm clicking on something, just open, I have the component, I can explain, do things, and you know, play with it. It's just so good. Just play with it. Get there. Get there, play with it. It's nice. We like it. Hmm. They really done a good job on this one. I am not gonna lie. Anyways, moving on. Moving on. Um, so yeah, overall, I would say that's the thing. It needs to stand out in the you can buy this situation rather than stand out in the oh that's orange. Because currently that's what I see. I just see that I just see the oh that's orange situation, which is kind of bad. Not necessarily what we wanna see. So I think obviously I forgot. I think we stopped here. Or there? No, we stopped there. I feel I feel like I don't remember. I feel like I don't remember. You see that? That's where we are. Um, we don't have much. If you are an iOS dev, highly recommend you to go through that. Technically, I should just send you the fucking GitHub link because Heather is good. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. So Heather is doing a ton of really, really useful elements for Swift UI and like packages that you can use. So Portal is one that I need to implement in my app. Garnish is a very interesting color calculation system where it will find the optimized contrast ratio for anything. So it takes the color in the background, it takes the color in the foreground, and apply the proper color to the foreground element while keeping some same hue. Not my problem is not my thing. Universal glass is really good when you want to have your iOS 17, 18 to still have similar looks as the iOS 26 design. And then there is like a ton of other things that are really cool. But yeah, right now the thing that I'm potentially looking at is Portal. Portal is basically transitioning elements from page to view without breaking. So it's interesting. It works weirdly. I get it, but yeah, it has a very interesting system where basically you have the portal that is above everything, and then you have your content. So anything that needs to go above is pulled from floor to the portal and then bring back to the situation where it's supposed to be. So there is like a z-index behavior. At least that's how I'm understanding it. But yeah, Ether is really good. There's been like a ton of things related to that, and we've talked about it before. So I do recommend you to check them out and check their GitHub. Um, we've seen this earlier today. I don't know if you are old enough to remember this. First of its name, Magic Mouse. I don't remember this one being wireless though. I remember it being wired. I had one wired that was transparent and basically liquid glass from, well, that time. But this one was one of the interesting one because it had the ball scroll wheel or the scroll ball, which allow you to move in any fucking direction, which then provided us with um, the Magic Mouse that we have today, which is just a trackpad but curved. So that's an interesting mouse. It's pretty cool, but that's about it. That's about it. That was for techie specifically. We have some more dither and dithering for a lot of illustration lately, like a lot of very cool concept with dots and dithering. This one is pretty much dithering. But yeah, we saw that last Wednesday. This is something cross keys that was kind of for you, in a way, for your portfolio. I feel like this is something that could work for what you had made already, what you had in place. I don't know if you have um, continued working on that portfolio thing, but I doubt it. But yeah, that sticker magazine print thing that they have done um, is pretty interesting, and it doesn't make any fucking sense. But I think that's the amount of confusion you want the user to have, specifically for things that are going to be in the background of your portfolio. So, as a reference, um, take it. I think it's really straight, and that might be too straight for what you already have. Like you have things with different angles and so on. The only thing that is out straight here is the dots, like any of these pasties things all over the place. These are unstraight. The rest is really square, even though like not exactly to the 90 degrees, but they are as square as they can be. So that's a thing. And then, I thought it would be interesting for you. So, yeah, Dapshi, hi, welcome back. How have you been? Yes, the fog counter goes up every time I say it. Or at least every time the mic picks it up. The same thing for the technically. As soon as it picks it up, it goes up. We have others, but Windows doesn't recognize these words. So, you know, it it happens. Um, this is one I forgot if this one is one. Yes, it is. We also had this one, but that's not necessarily working anymore. Um, so yeah, this one would have been good earlier in the discussion. A lot of them, a lot of them. Uh, so yeah, so that was for you, cross keys mainly, which is pretty cool. This is for techie as well. We do like these things as a presentation, and I feel like that would work really well for Kyoto for the softness of how the app looks. So, we like these also. Icon is really good for presentation. This one was a very interesting concept, and I feel like it's a good concept for once. So, this is the same thing as Notion slash. When you're typing slash, you have the ability to get like whatever blocks they have. Instead of doing this, you do your slash, and then you have the options to select something from the wheel, and the wheel is limited. Currently limited to 4 elements, but I feel like the presentation, the texture of the paper in the background, the font is really good. The gradient that they have used on said background, but also on the font itself to just blend things in, and then the shadows and so on. The the softness of the font right where you ended your typing is really interesting. I don't know if this is something based on the overlay itself, that tool, or if it's something that just goes through, um, like whatever you are typing has some sort of a gradient in the font itself, which is interesting. So this is really cool for the presentation. Moving on, the this animation was really cool. We kind of glanced over it on like over something similar on Wednesday. There was another one that we saw that I think was from the same account. But they are doing a very, very cool thing. And even though there is a flash cut in the center, for some reason it just works. And I like what they've done. So, yeah, that's the thing. That is the thing. Um, Farrell, which is someone that we have talked about before plenty of times, is someone that has started his journey on Twitter at least by creating buttons and textures for the buttons. And I kind of gave them some sort of a pointer at some point where they were making some mistakes, or what I define as mistake, and now they are doing these, and there is so much small details in all of this that makes sense, and so much that doesn't make sense. Um, but it's really cool to see all of the progression and the skills that they have built in the past few years. I'm really happy to see this. If you look closely, there is like so much things. So the first thing is the card itself has an indented outer rim for some reason. Like you have a double layer of the outside border right here and the inside border right here. So you get like multiple layers of depth. This block is lifted from the floor just a tad because it has a shadow, and then the inside has some sort of a weird textured conditional thing with a crease in the center, so it highlight the bottom and it darkened this thing. It's pretty well made. It has no texture and no noise, which is interesting. And then that card, inside of the card, has some sort of a raised element, and then it has a hole. So there is, again, there is a ton of depth and raises and other things that are supposed to be on different layers and different Z indexes. It renders really interestingly. I wouldn't have had the shadow at the bottom, and I would have this thing indented uh, inside of the app rather than being like something that is raised above the whole thing. But still, really cool to see. Really cool to see the details, and so we do like to see that. Um, we talked about Vision Kit kind of last time, and this one was interesting. I don't exactly know what the fuck is happening. I have no clue, other than it's looking interesting. But that's it. It's just looking interesting. Um, this one was crazy, still is, to be honest. But uh, they have created a presentation with an app design, right? And apparently, that person has created something that is exactly the same. And in the beginning, I was like, well, that's a similar layout. Right? I could have designed something like this, and therefore we ended up in the same in the exact same thing. However, um, getting started. Welcome to capital and the minus right here. Getting started. Welcome to Brookwell and the minus, followed by two of these icon plus text with a chevron, which is exactly the same right there. It's square icon as well. It's almost the same icons. And then the navigation at the bottom is square icons with lighter backgrounds and light icon for the one that is selected. And you end up with something that is exactly similar. The only difference is that the non-selected don't have a square background. The off-white white background is almost the same. The top section has basically a white button and a black button, and they did a black button and a white button just to not have the same thing. But it's roughly the same design. It's the same ID, and apparently this is something that came out in 2022. And I don't know if that design thing has been posted on Dribble, has been posted on another platform or somewhere. But yeah, if that's a thing, um, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad to see this, or this level of exactly the same. Um, this one is a very interesting one. That I say it for a reason. If you look closely, these are not rotating. They are not in a circle. And you might be able to notice that. But they are rotating through the, how is it called? The phase. And so it's a difference in Y offset and a difference on rotation added to each element. So basically, you end up with a transition while scrolling to get the effect that it's moving, but it's basically a pyramid where the element is just moving in a straight line from here to here and then from here to here and going back down. So it's kind of sad because it could have been like a proper rotation, but it's not.
Patayawi is
So,
now following.
Fuchiaoi, hi, welcome on Hey, how are you? Who are you? How did you find the stream? TikTok for the follow. Appreciate it. I like the name. I like the name. Going back to what we said last stream, that was mostly for techie. The creation of this is not necessarily like an iOS friendly thing, but it still works the same way. So we do like to see that transition native on iOS, but like not here. So it looks cool. We like it, and yeah, I have questions about this one. I I don't. I'm not sure who decided that this was a good idea. I'm not against it. Um, we don't have, you know, much information other than this, but yeah, it's interesting. It's a good choice of word. Good choice of word. Going back to the thing that we looked at last Monday, I think it was last Monday. Um, these people are doing this logo right here that is really, really good. And now they have presented it as the logo of the company inside of the plaque that is going outside of their office. And I feel like they are doing a very good job. I don't know if this is like a black thing. It might be a colored plague, plaque. I don't know. But yeah. Um, Going back to the discussion we had on Wednesday about Rive updating their pricing, Framer is updating their pricing, and they are now making me pay more and less at the same time. So they used to have a mini pricing that was um, allowing me to just get the thing for $5 a month, and it was like one page, 144, and that's it. It's very, very good for very simple landing pages that don't need like a CMS or something. And now it's not there anymore. Now you are forced to go into the up tier, which is like $10 a month, and it's 10. It's not 9.99, it's 10, which I do appreciate the fact that they just go with straight $10 circle and so on. But yeah, just up the pricing a bit, but give us a bit more stuff. So that's interesting and so on. We talked about Brett before many times for many reasons. And this is one of the other versions of I have doubts. You know, they say I just made a TikTok account, posted a solo video of Scroll jumping on a trampoline, have 7 million views, and will hit to 20k followers today. Since then, we haven't seen the link to said video anywhere in the replies. Like, nothing has been posted. And for the link, it doesn't exist. So I will trust this when I see it in my feed. For now, I don't trust it. I do not trust it. This one was really cute, and just Tetsuya doing some Tetsuya stuff, so we do like it. This is like Cinema 4D or Blender. I forgot, but they are doing really, really cool animations all the time. This is their bot that is posting every day for engagement. And if you are not following them, please do so. Please go do so, because it is really good. It's really feed cleansing. If you are looking at Twitter all day or any other platforms all day and you want something that just take you out of the drama and other things, that's going to be a good place. A good place. Like this, for example, could be a very interesting build for an item inside of an app. Just a badge or something. As an inspiration post, I think that's pretty good. This one is something that I wish I knew how to do. I know this is a shader based on the fact that it's made with P5, which I need to learn, but I don't have the time nor the willingness to do so. But P5 is really good. If you're interested in shaders in general, highly recommend you to just take a look at P5 and learn it, because it's nice. It's a very nice library. Of just shaders. Yeah, Shadow Toy is basically the same thing. Shadow Toy is using sometimes P5 as well. But yes, 100%. It Shadow Toys has some more interesting UI, I would say, than what we have in P5. P5 is kind of straightforward, and that's about it. Um, so P5.js is basically just a JS framework for shaders or in shaders with the simplifications of stuff. So you end up with a syntax that is a bit easier than just JavaScript. But Shader Toys is also um, very similar, to be honest, in what we end up with if it loads. God damn. This internet connection is really bad. uh, the the thing that I'm seeing most of the time is the output that we have on Shader Toy is a bit more crazy than the thing that we have on B5. But we like both, nonetheless. And yeah, doing a good job. And I'm just really sad that their fucking website is so shit because it could be good. It could be much better. But I've used some of these in the past to like basically have my background on stream animated because these shaders work on a version of Chromium with no issues, so I can just play with them and have like an animated background. Very interesting generative noise for the textures and so on. So yeah, um, I don't know. Posh brawling. It's an interesting thing. That fucking website is not working. I had never seen this. Interesting. Yeah, that's cool. Fair point. But yeah, I want to do particles. That's the thing that I need to learn. Ah, yeah. Let's all go. Fine, we'll go on in. I don't know. They haven't really talked about it. They haven't really posted any other thing than the rodeo um, thing. Rodeo is a bit of a interesting platform. uh, it's a, it's how can I say that? It's a creative focused platform. Weird, as in it's meant for creatives. That's what it's said. But then it's mostly some sort of a rebranded NFT thing, right? So you end up with a lot of AI generated elements and a lot of different things. But it's interesting. There is like some cool art and cool pieces in there, but it's also like it's wild to me to have an AI based platform that thrives on the fact that you know um, works there. I don't. I have some issues here at times. Like this is an AI art, an AI generated thing. It doesn't look like it's AI generated, but yeah, that doesn't like that look like some of the cool old illustration stuff. So yeah, we do like Rodeo for the website itself and the app as a concept. It's also very interesting, and you can collect thing, which is basically your likes, but it's not likes. You have tokens, basically NFTs, but not NFTs because you don't really pay money for them, kinda, but a bit. But it's weird. So it's interesting. We do like it though. So this one is really neat. I wish we had more like things. But yeah, he's doing like more interesting element if you want to look at the rest of his profile on Twitter. Um, could help. Could help. Um, isn't Byte Beat the same thing as Algo Rave? It's been a while. Um, yeah, interesting. Oh, I wasn't ready for the sound on this one. um, yeah, I really need to learn these things. That's the that's where I stand. I need to fucking learn because it's it's probably going to be useful for me in the future. Um, but it's just I don't get it. I don't get it. The reason why I want to learn it is mostly because of the implication in um, metal shaders on iOS are pretty good on macOS as well, and there is like so much thing that I can do with metal that I want to do but cannot. Um, so I just want to understand, and so Radio Fun, for example, which is someone that we kind of follow, not this one, um, is doing a lot of very, very cool shaders, iOS shaders transition, and you know, um, I I like all of this, obviously, and I'm extremely biased when it comes to these things. It just makes sense, and the fact that some of these things are shader only created is kind of wild to me. Like these transitions are shader driven transition, so that's a that's a very impressive thing to have. But yeah, I watched the entirety um of that video multiple times already. So yeah, it is good. I just don't get it. There is a need for me to watch it again still and then make it click, but for now it's not clicking, so it will click at some point, but for now it doesn't. It doesn't. Um so we had this that we talked about earlier today, which is a really cool website. This one was really nice and peaceful. Um have a good rest of your day. Take care of yourself. Thanks a lot for stopping by, as always. I like these shit. Moving on. If you remember last Wednesday, I talked about the fact that some of the uh, icons and native SF symbols from Apple directly have different width, and therefore you end up with stuff like this where you have misalignment in content, and you can, um, you know, add a A very simple modifier with the reserved icon width to make them all 20 so that they are all aligned. And I did not know that, so now I learned this. It's pretty good. We had this that was really impressive. It's a bit fast, but I feel like if you are playing a video game and trying to build your own scope, your own site, that would be a very cool transition to see how it looks on your weapon builders. And then that happens. And the reason why I didn't scroll up is because you need to see that image first before I I see it. I goddamn. Anyways, moving on. We've had other things happen. This is a bit of a new, again, as I said earlier, this is a new era of the design, the choices that people are making based on some of the new tools that we have access to. So the progressive blur that is now native inside of Framer, Figma, other platforms, that's something that is going to be implemented in a lot of illustration. My new app icon is using the same thing. So, it's a pattern that is coming, and good to know, good to have. We had this that I wanted to showcase for the same reason as usual. This is pastel colors strong, like strong. And it looks really good. Not gonna lie there. Looks really nice. But it is one of the kind of bounce back pendulum situation where we went in very bright, very colorful, saturated colors for all of the AI tools for the past few months slash year and a half. And now designers are fed up with that amount of saturation. They want something that is calmer, something that is softer, and they are going back into pastels. So we end up with things like this. This is pretty good. There are some things that I don't really like. I don't know if you can see this on the stream, but there is some sort of a written like lines going across the whole thing, like rays of colors coming from the top. It's not necessarily good, but it works. So, yeah, just mentioning it. This one for many reasons, but that's not the one that is making a lot of sense. This one is an interesting one, mainly because of how they have decided to build this thing, which, if you know me and you've been here before, you will know that this to me is, how can I say that? This is, weirdly enough, too many layers based on my take. So if we just zoom in and we take a look at what they have done, let me just drop that right about here, if that makes sense. So what they have is technically 5 layers with different values and different things. And I have a feeling, obviously, that this whole thing could have been made with 1.5 layer rather than 5. A lot of different fills, but 1.5 would be probably an option. So what do I mean by that, and how the fuck do you think you can do that with 1.5 layer? Basically that oval situation thing in the center is, at least to me, a very, very simple element that just takes that color with a transition. So it's going to be a radial. And then that outline is going to be that kind of bright yellow thing, right? We have this. It's coming from around here. We make sure that it goes through everything and so on. I'm going to do that really, really fast because it makes no sense. Here, if I wanted to have that God rays at the top, I could add a layer, but I could also just add a fill. And that fill could be an angular element that goes from above the view and just there. So you have the blur edges and the more softer, not softer, but harsher transition at the top because it is closer to the edge at the center of the points. Then you have this. Right now it's just white, which makes no sense. But if I had this, like at I don't know, 100%, and let's getting this to be an overlay, something to be like kind of similar, you end up with a very close output. I guess my background thing is kind of bad, but you know. So you have this, that makes sense. And then you want to get your inside depth element. And so this is basically just an inner shadow that is taking um, that color and you make it at the bottom. That might be multiply or something so that it take the color and so on. You end up with the same distance element thing. And that's still just one layer. We don't have anything else. And so the content here, if I just send that in CSS as an SVG, it's just one shape with multiple fills rather than having multiple layers that are going to be heavier. It's an SVG, it doesn't take much. But you end up with something that is really, really easy and then simpler to grasp and play with. And if I had like, I don't know, this color in the background, you end up with very quickly the ability to just get the entire thing properly set up. Same thing at the bottom, you could 100% get like the radial gradient. This one might be a bit more complex based on how it is built, but let's say I'm getting a radial on this. I'm getting that somewhere around here, and then we get that transition, right? It's somewhere around here to be kind of flat. Might need to be like a tad higher, a tad lower. And you get like that whole element really, really quickly with just fills rather than having them into multiple layers and multiple things. So you just have one frame in one layer and you end up with the entire scene. So simpler and so on. However, again, if this has been outputted, exported as a PNG, then it's faster to do a PNG. But just for the creation section, it's pretty simple. It works. It's interesting, and it's good to see how things work. So having fun with that. Um, Anyways, moving on. There is something else. This is something that I've seen as a new pattern kind of emerge from some of the Japanese creators that I'm following. Obviously, this one is one of them. But they're using a ton of really fake hand-drawn, but still hand-drawn animation mixed with text and other overlaying elements. So it's a very cyber, organic cyber, I would say, which is kind of weird. So that's a very interesting thing. And this one was just fun. I don't really know what it is, but it's interesting. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else but that. That was with Techie specifically. And that's the news that we were talking about earlier. The prompter that I'm using right now is the smaller one. And apparently they are building a new XL version that is a 16-inch, 15.6 display. So that's a very nice secondary screen. The only thing that I wish would work with this is the ability to just use them as screens without Netflix or other platforms thinking that I'm recording my screen, because that is annoying. Because I can't use them just as screens. But I might not, because it's like $600, but you know, it's a cool thing. Um, so yeah, that's the that's the whole thing. That is the whole thing. I had a post earlier today about the new app that I'm building, Prefume, making sure that we have something. It is, I've done a better job making sure that the landing page is better and works, but it's still not to my taste. Um, you know, I mean, it's working. Not gonna lie, it's working, but it's just something's missing, and I don't know what it is, but something's missing. I think the fault is wrong, and that might be the reason. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see what we can do and where we can go. Um. So yeah, as always, let me go pee. Study, what was your point about the player? You said that you were rewriting it. That's the that's the question. Well, at least that's what I understood. I don't know if that's exactly what you said, but I feel like it is. Um, that makes no sense. um, I'm receiving emails from for stuff. Mm, yeah, all right, fine. Fine, fine, fine. I think we need to do that though. That's a side quest. You can be here. That's an option. So we know that we have thing that I forgot. As in, the follower role doesn't really work. So if we have Twitch, have a new follow, we know that it needs to go into OBS. That changes the filter visibility on badge. Yes. Oh. Well, it's gonna be scene filter visibility. They, nope. And that's gonna be visible by default. But that should, if I'm not mistaken, trigger the underneath things. Good. That's what I saw. I forgot. And then we need the other one, which is the same thing. If we have a raid, we need to have an automated switch to scene. That's the issue when you reset your fucking Mac. So follow is a visual effect. That makes sense. And bitch, get out. And zoom is a visual effect as well. Raider name is for the raids. That's everything. Cool. That works. That will work. We will have automations. But yeah, that's about it. Um, I don't know why Cat has been live for so long. It's crazy. I mean, live for so long, you know, for a long time. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Anyways, I am going to send you to someone if I can find that someone. I think Clark is live, but like we went to Clark on Friday as well, so it might not. I might just send you to Nutty because it's been a bit, and I have something to redeem there. So you know, it makes sense. It's easy. It's simple. It's there. Yeah, send you there. I forgot that. Anyways, thanks a lot for being here, as always. The VOD is going to be on YouTube if you are interested in that. If you want to, ask question and I'm not live, that happens. You can join the Discord. That will be highly appreciated. As always, if you're going to stalk me online, you can stalk me online, or you can come back here on Monday. I think that's gonna be the thing. So as always, if you want to learn Japanese, you can't stalk me IRL. I mean, you can. I have an event on Thursday. but you need to be in France. So if you want to learn Japanese, use can. It's really good. I'm not biased. And if you want to give me some money, you can use the Mom UI kit, which is really good as well. Get subs to the channel, but you can also like get a UI kit. But yeah, that's basically where we are. That is basically where we are. So yeah, as always. Oh no, you can't do that. Anyways, bye. I'm running out of time.